Brody would go into these possessed trances. And she would start speaking in other voices.
She's not. She's not. She knows.
She's mine. She's mine. Is she okay? She's mine. You okay? Thank you. So you still coming to my therapy session tomorrow, right? Okay, I see. Oh, thank you. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow. Just a little trigger warning in the beginning of this video because this is a very serious, heavy topic. And a lot of my commentary videos, I use humor to process things, especially if it makes me uncomfortable. So I never mean to make light of the situation. I do see how this video can come across as insensitive, and that is not my intention at all. It's just my personality type. I use honesty and humor, especially during heavy topics such as this one. If you decide that's just not your type of content and need to take a mental health break and seek mental clarity, go on and do so. For those of you that are almost as fucked up as I am, I appreciate you for staying. And let's get to the video. Like, what the fuck was going on? So there's a Ruby Franke documentary on Hulu that I have decided to unfortunately watch. I still don't understand to this day how they got caught up in knowing that this therapist has demons inside her and continuing to take services from this demon-infested therapist. That's not even a therapist. Nobody, shout out to Sherry, because she was the only one that was like, wait, this ain't adding up. She was the only one in the family. Shout out to her, firstborn. She got a book out telling y'all what happened in the household called The House of My Mother. I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing because this is so idiotic. It's like, so, I guess, stereotypical. You see all the scary movies showing the white person being nosy and getting caught up in these things because they are nosy. And it's crazy because we see it here in real life. I can't see any other ethnicity. I'm sorry. I don't want to be stereotypical or racist or anything like that, but I literally cannot see in my brain somebody from a ethnic background saying, hey, you have a demon in you and I am here to help you. No, if we see that, we ain't got nothing to do with you. It's fight or flight, and we are flighting, okay? we are flighting. Or we're speak to the pastor. Speak to the pastor. I'm gone. Or we got the hoodoos and voodoos that know how to bring this energy out of you, and they help you in some shape or form. we are never the ones to be like, I'm gonna pull this demon out of you. And then run back 2 days later, like, yes, the demon is out. I will receive therapy from you. Like, no. No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So everything wrong with the Ruby Franke docuseries on Hulu. They start off with the little boy who knocked on the door of his neighbor, and this is the middle of Utah in like a canyon, very hot, concrete blazing. Like he's walking barefoot on this hot ass road trying to figure out who's going to open the damn door. These houses are so separated that he must have walked 2 miles at bare minimum. He knocked on one neighbor's door, no answer. He walked a couple miles off to another direction, knocked on that neighbor's door, and he waited there a while. Because mind you, half of these houses are not occupied. So he waited there a while, and he lost all hope. He started walking back to where he came from. And all of a sudden, an old grumpy man opened the door and said, "What can I do for you?" And he's like, I'm asking for 2 favors. Can you take me to the police station? And actually, just 1 favor is good. With his voice, it broke my heart because you could obviously tell that he is not in the right mind state. Like, he sounds so drained. He doesn't know how to communicate that much. He's using the last of his energy to be able to do so. And the grumpy man asks, "Yeah, what's going on?" And the little boy broke my heart even further by saying, "It's personal business."
Hi, I was just wondering if you could do 2 favors.
Well, what are they?
Taking me to the nearest police station. Well, actually, just one's fine.
Well, what's going on, son? Have a seat there.
It's personal business.
Like, he did not even want to tell this man what has been going on, even though it's obvious signs. It gives me a perspective of this little boy was breaking down so much that he thinks that he did wrong in some kind of way, and he just wants it settled. He doesn't want anybody else in his business. He just wants it settled by the police. He's like, "Police, come and get me, because I might be doing wrong, but I feel like something else is happening. Like, it just arrest me if I'm doing wrong. Take me away if I'm doing wrong. But I don't think I'm doing right." You get what I'm saying? Like, it's that kind of perspective where it's like, I'd rather go to the police, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'd rather go to them and sacrifice my life to them than to sacrifice my life to my mother.
Have a seat. What's your name? I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. And he's said he just came from a neighbor's house. He's emaciated. He's got tape around his legs. He's hungry and he's thirsty.
Need someone immediately.
But he has duct tape around
Big
his ankle.
injuries. There's sores around them.
Yeah, there's sores around him. I think there's a good chance he's been...
He also has...
Oh, and he has it around his ankle.
As well.
I mean, his wrist as well. Okay, this boy has been...
Needs immediate attention. Oh, he was such a good kid.
This kid is obviously been... I think he's been
We need the police.
The second thing that I found weird is that Kevin Franke, Ruby Franke's husband, when they were a little bit younger, before they got married, she had a board in her room listing all the characteristics that she wants in a partner. And he played that part to get her. Which is just like, you see this in the manosphere a lot of times, and you see this in the toxic feminine culture a lot of times, where once they know what you want, they're going to play that character of what you want in a person. And then when they get married, shit hits the fan. Or what usually happens as well is the person who's making these checkpoints, if they're not right in the mind, the person who's making these checkpoints are making them for a reason, because once you hit all those checkpoints, they know that you could be manipulated, which is a big red flag. So a lot of these checkpoints were like, just like characteristics of the physique of a man. So he had to be well smelling, he had to be groomed, he had to be nice, polite, he had to love her, he had to be willing to help with the kids' homework, which is well, fine and dandy. But one of the red flags was a bullet point that said something along the lines of, I want him to be agreeable. And whether on the manosphere side of things or the feminist side of things, that bullet point is a red flag, because usually what agreeable means is, if I tell you to do something, you do it with no questions asked. You have no mind of your own. I am going to control you. I am going to be the leader in everything. It's not like, oh, I'm good at this, so I'm the leader at this. Or, hey, she's good at this, so I'm going to just let her lead on this. It's, I'm the leader of everything, and you're going to listen to me against all of your thoughts and feelings. Hey, I'm the leader of you. That's what that means. It's not like a cutesy, hey, he provides, he leads, I don't have to do anything and sit back and relax. Because then all of a sudden you get she's mine. All of a sudden you end up in this situation where you're fighting demons and getting kicked out the house because you brought demons in the house, but it was in Jody's house before. Like, all of a sudden you get wrapped up in this manipulation tactic, and it's Kevin, I wish you would never did that. Like, you were so focused on this woman and you had no idea what you was getting yourself into. I wish for all the men out there, just be yourself and women will follow along. The main characteristic of a leader is being yourself. So while you don't go out here checking off bullet points because this little teenage girl has bullet points and a whole chart set up like a narcissist in her damn closet or some shit. Like, you just stop snooping. Chill out. What was y'all thinking? Anyways, Chad and his older sister admit that they used to clean blood off the wall and Chad's nose will be bleeding. So I'm not hearing a lot of people talk about this part. I'm not hearing a lot of people talk about this part. But for me, even growing up in the projects, That is what we call abuse. I'm sorry to laugh. I'm sorry to laugh, but like, this is one of the moments where I'm like, white people sometimes get away with anything. Like, and I wish I could turn back time and, you know, tell these kids, hey, speak the fuck up. But I can't. But that was one of the warning signs where it was just like, hey, this is a telltale sign of abuse. It may not be verbal abuse that you could kind of sort of get away with CPS. It may not be that, because CPS sometimes don't give a fuck. You have to have a lot of evidence against you. For CPS, if their kids would have, you know, said something and they told CPS, hey, Chad's nose was bleeding and we had to clear blood from the wall. They would have did something. Sorry, I have something on my lips. They would have did something about it a long time ago, but nothing was said. And I don't know if that's part of what was happening in the household, but it's very unfortunate that it was happening in the household. And a lot of abuse is not as, you know, out there. And if Kevin Franke was actually a part of the household and it wasn't just Ruby taking over the household and making it as it was, which is part of also the Mormon culture, maybe, just maybe, Kevin would have been more keen to the fact that his son is getting abused like this. Like, what the hell happened? I don't know, because they don't say it in the documentary. Like, they don't straight up say, hey, Ruby straight up, when I was talking too much. They literally just say, yeah, there was a couple of times where I had to clean blood off the walls and Chad's nose was bleeding and I'll just hand him some ice and I didn't know what to do. So there's another weird thing. Anyway, number four. When they moved out of their forever home, one neighbor didn't like her because she didn't host events and just kept to herself, which is so idiotic for me, because, like, so the fuck what? But I guess in their culture there, if you're new neighbors, they'll like have a little bit of parties going on, or like at least hand you some, I guess, chicken casserole, like a welcome neighbor. But Ruby didn't do any of that. She was just so focused on vlogging and minding her damn business, which is not a red flag for me, because I mind my damn business. I'll never hand a neighbor chicken casserole. I'll say hi to them, like, hi, but I'll never be expected to be invited to the house. Like, I'm not that type of person. But to each his own. I just found it funny that that was a cause for concern. I don't know. And the sun is beaming now. I should have closed these curtains. I'm gonna close them now. I apologize. I haven't filmed in 2 weeks, so, you know, the routine is just gone. Hold on. Yeah, I just found that funny, because if it was me, y'all would have been thought I was suspect, because I'm not inviting y'all to my house. Y'all not obligated to come to my house. Like, Just like my son don't like people in this house because he's autistic, I also have that trait. Nobody's coming to this house. I apologize. No parties. I will invite you to a party out somewhere, just not at my house, okay? I don't host events at my house. I just like that. I tried it twice. Not for me. Anyways, moving on. She was bribing the kids with... I'm sorry to laugh. I'm sorry. I can't take anything seriously. Like, at the moment, it was serious, but I'm too far gone. I'm 2 weeks into this, and all I can do is laugh because it's so idiotic. She was bribing the kids with $10 to help with a video, knowing damn well she makes $100,000 a month off of them. So there was one point where the kids were just getting fatigued of making videos and having to fake it for the camera and doing all this. And she was literally in the car like, okay, whoever does this will get $10. Bitch, I am the muse. Ooh, hold on. I am the entertainment. You gotta give me $10 of my own money to help you make $100,000. You gotta give me like 1% of that? No, this is my channel. There was literally, I feel like they were so scared to speak up for themselves, they just began boycotting and straight up telling her, yo, I don't want to do this anymore. And she got angry because of it. But yeah, your kids have the right to tell you no. Anyways, so like I said, the kids stopped wanting to record, and they were seemingly punished due to the fact that they didn't want to record. They didn't want to fake it for the camera. They didn't want to like put on a happy face when they're miserable, of course.
And raise their voice. So those behind the scenes that everyone is seeing, that it kind of scares them. It's not uncommon.
Fake being happy. Okay? I don't know if I can right now.
One of the tactics Ruby used was when Chad wasn't listening in school, which normally teenagers don't listen to adults in school. Like, they have their own minds now. And he was so programmed to listen to his parents that when he went to high school, he was like, fuck y'all. Like, y'all all ain't shit like I was. I was basically like, y'all all ain't shit. Fuck, I'm gonna listen to you for. Like, I was literally that type of kid. Like, I did my own thing. I didn't listen to adults. If they gave me advice, I would do the complete opposite just to see if their advice was true. Does that make sense? Like, I didn't trust any adults at all because of the way I grew up. And I think Chad was going through the same thing. It seems like Chad was the one Ruby took out her anger on because he was so headstrong. Which he's supposed to be. He's the man of the house. Like, what? Anyways, even though Chad used to be the lighthearted one, I think Ruby broke him down to the point where he no longer wanted to be used for the content, and she seemingly punished him for not wanting to do the content anymore. So she took away the bed. She sent him to the wilderness camp where they stood out in, I think, the Arizona heat for days at a time with no food, no nothing. And word is that a lot of people lose weight at this wilderness camp, and Chad is the only one that gained weight, which makes you think, how much food was she restricting on the house that Chad was the one to gain weight in this wilderness camp where they had to fend for food? I think they was only allowed like one snack per day, and then the rest they had to hunt and gather. So, how was he gaining weight? Somebody go add Chad. Anyways, in the documentary, they backtrack to, Kevin speaking. And Kevin, the husband, seems to have no idea to the extent of the abuse. Like, I don't think he knew that Chad's nose was being busted. I don't think he knew that the kids weren't getting fed a nutritious meal. I don't think he knew. I think he was very checked out. I don't even want to say like ignorant, because like if you see these things like he saw, for example, he was recording one of the vlogs and Ruby literally, okay, so you know how little kids are just like in the camera, like just doing things half the time. Like if my daughter or my son sees this camera, especially my son, he's at that age where if he sees the camera, he would just want to be all up in it. He just like they're just kids. They just want to be able to perceive themselves, I guess. And it's very entertaining for them, I think. So in this incident, Ruby was talking at like a dining table. And I forget what she was talking about because she's so boring. And one of her kids just came in the camera, wanted to be, perceived and just video cameras and, recorded like she usually wants them to be. But in this instance, she was like, it is my time to talk. What are you doing? And then Ruby, after she caught herself doing what she was doing, she was like, yeah, we gotta cut that out. And Kevin said, yeah. Like nothing happened. Like if my husband saw me do that to my child, he would have a fit. Like he's very protective. I'm very protective. Like we both have checks and balances. There's some things that I'm not good with, and I'll express those feelings to him. And there's some things that he's not good with, and he'll express them to me. There's always checks and balances in how we treat our kids, and we discuss them. If we see something we don't like, in discuss, we will check each other. And that's what parents are supposed to do. We just do our best to have that integrity. There's some things he will see as a man that I will not see, and he'll come to me and be like, hey, you shouldn't do that because blah 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 blah. And I will see some things that I don't like as a woman, and I'll tell him, hey, blah 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 blah. Kevin and Frankie, he was just like, hey, the kids are your responsibility. You do whatever you want. You discipline them. You cook and clean, and this is your house. I just go out and work. And when I come home, I just stay silent because, I did what I had to do. I just looked at the chart of the qualifications I needed, and I said, okay. And then I married you a couple months later, and then I'm basically done. That's what I think Kevin's mind is like set up as, because I don't think he has any I don't think he has his own thoughts. I think his mind is just like brainwashed into the Mormon church or the Mormon shit. He's baked into the Mormon shit, okay? He's full on Mormon, okay? And he's just like, I just work and come home, Everything else is my wife, I don't have anything to do with this. He should have spoken up, and she should have respected the boundaries. But since there was a little check mark on her little poster board when she was like, what, I guess like 20? It was a little check mark stating, need man to comply. He was like, okay, I'll comply. This is why you just be yourself and know what you stand for and know your ethics before going into a relationship. But moving on. This is where Jody comes in because their relationship is going to shambles apparently, and they need Jody to basically step in. And now Jody knew what she was doing. Okay, she knew they were easily manipulated. She knew because they was part of a Mormon church, and they grew up in a Mormon church. They have no other way of life than the Mormon church. She knew that she could brainwash them. So what happened first was that she love bombed them. Now, I don't know about you, but as a pretty woman, you know, I am used to getting love bombs. Somebody comes along and says, I love you so much, you're so perfect, you're so this and you're so that, I'll give you this and that and this and that, and I'll show you around my house, my beautiful house. You know what? You can actually live here. But yeah, people will love bomb you, and especially if they want you to be a part of something, or they want you to be in their clique for some odd reason, or they want you to do this and that, and it's usually used for manipulation. And they will give you everything. They will tell you everything you need to hear. They'll give you gifts. They'll invite you places. They'll pay for everything. They'll do all this and under the guise of, I love you. You can't do any wrong. You're so perfect. You know, so Jody basically made them feel important and needed. And she basically used the Mormon values and what they believed in and paired that up with, you know, the pandemic that was happening around that time, where the Mormons thought it was the end of the world and, you know, God is coming back down and we'll be the saviors. We're doing everything perfect. Like, I'm so perfect. She used that tactic, which I think is like, not to judge anybody's belief, but like the pandemic. But, you know, I live in an urban area. I don't know what the suburbs was doing or thinking back then. I was busy going through postpartum depression, which is just like a whole other thing. I didn't pay attention to the pandemic. I really didn't give a shit. I was just trying to survive and not myself, you know? That's where I was at, okay? And I focus on myself, not the worldly views of things, you know? So this is where Jody basically started faking trances and spiritual attacks and doing that weird she's mine that, like a dying roach. She was doing all that. And apparently Kevin Franke saw like fingerprints on the wall of her house, just like big ass like demon fingerprints, like you know. I don't know. I don't believe it at all. There's so many ways you can make these fake things of like demon hands or like noises in the basement, he was saying, where nothing was in the basement. It sounded like tables were tossed over. It was just a lot going on. And I found it so weird that even though they knew or like believed there was a lot going on in Jody's house, they still insisted on her going to their house to stay there for her well-being. If it was me, if I knew you had some type of demon, or I believed you had some type of demon in you or in your house, you are not invited in my house. I'm sorry, ma'am. Okay? You are not invited in my house. I don't care if you need the Lord and Savior. I am not him. Go run to him. Thank you. Amen. I'm praying for you. You're not invited in my house. But apparently the Mormons are just like, I can save you. And they continue to receive therapy from a demon-infested therapist, which is not even a therapist because she lost her license. Like, make it make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't. So it was like one night she's over here tranced out talking about she's mine. And then the next day, Kevin is sitting on a Zoom call being hated on because he's not the man that Jody wants him to be. Like, you're listening to a demon at this point is my point. You're listening to a straight up demon at this point. What makes you think that you have healed the demon out of Jody 24 hours later? Like, I don't understand. They can't mention that Jody's has been living in their house, which I also don't get, because they were a prisoner in their own houses, but Jody has a full-blown mansion in like a rural area of Utah where nobody goes. Y'all couldn't just switch houses? Like, let me keep the mansion. I don't care about the damn demons in that mansion. Let me keep the mansion and you stay here if you really want to. But I'm not going to be here with you because you're probably the demon infested, not the house. I'll keep your mansion. You can stay here, okay? I'll keep the mansion with my, what was it, 5 kids? 5 kids. And you can just stay here, in a humble situation. And I'll just go to your, like, millions of dollars mansion in the middle of nowhere. I think that's a good deal. Anyways, Ruby was convinced eventually that everyone's evil, and she was like the savior of all of these evil people in the family, and people had to move away because they're causing havoc and making it worse for Jody. And yada yada yada. Like, this white people shit gets so annoying after a while. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I'm reading the rest of the notes. They started to not make sense, just like this whole story. One thing I shall point out is that they tortured the kids because they had demons in them and they had to fight it out before, the resurrection of, Almighty. But my thing is, Jody didn't have to fight it out. Like, she didn't have to be starved, or she didn't have to run up and down Hell Hill Road, I think it's called, in the blazing heat without any food or water and be dehydrated and starved. And she didn't have to sleep outside the porch. She didn't have to do all these things that they put the kids through, even though they knew that she was possessed by a demon. Instead, they still took therapy advice from her. So I'm just here to say, make this make fucking sense. Okay, bye. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you like this video, and I'll see you next week. Hopefully nothing else happens in my life and I'll be here. If not, follow me on my vlogging channel, because I'm most definitely there if I'm not here. Thank you. May you stay away from the Mormon church. No, I'm not going to put that out there. No hate to the Mormon church, but some of y'all are weird. I'm not even going to lie. Some of y'all need help, and not from Jody. Just saying. Okay, bye. Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to grab Are you doing voiceover?
I'm doing recording. I told you I was recording.
Oh, the camera usually have the computer open. Can I do a voice?
A voice of what? You don't even know I'm recording. I got eyelash in my eye.
What up, bitches? Hi.
You got anything to say to the Mormon church?
Mormon church, Mormon church, Mormon church. What they do?
Ruby Franke got arrested for abusing her kids because they had demons in them.
I think that is fruits off of the tree of inbreeding. If you inbreed enough, you get that.
You think so?
That's a huge characteristic of the Mormon church is inbreeding. Yeah.
Almost
So-
like I shouldn't put that on YouTube.
No,
You think
blur
they
it,
go
blur
cancel?
it. No, mute it.
But who knows? They could have been inbred and didn't even know. And then
No, the
they.
whole Mormon church. That's a big problem.
That's an interesting
Like,
take.
think about it. That who's like going to join the Mormon church? No, all the people in the Mormon church are people that have been there.
And apparently, black people are devils. So.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, sure.
I want you to realize they just have your neck down.
Just talking dread. I like the way you say manipulated.
Manipulation. Do you volunteer to go to the Mormon church and praise the Lord? So they could stop being inbred. I thought you came in here to grab stuff. You walking out with nothing. So you really not gonna join the Mormon? You you really not gonna join the church?
No, you first. This is too much time in your video. If I'm in your video any longer, I need to get paid.
I don't even get paid.
I reckon. So figure that out. I'm talent.
You only brought in dreads and incest.